Welcome back, viewers, to another List of Legends list, and today we're going to be listing the top 8 saddest Walking Dead deaths. Before we start off our list, not only do I give a huge spoiler warning, but I just want to let you all know I post videos 3 times a week, and if you'd like to see more or less videos, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. Starting off our list at the number 1 spot, we have Merle Dixon. Even though Merle started out pretty ruthless enough by forcing himself to be in charge of our survivors on the rooftop, and getting himself handcuffed to a roof, as well as fighting on the same side as the governor, in the end he put himself out there to assassinate the governor. Unfortunately, a walker got in to fool his plans, and sadly it ends up with Merle being the one who bit off more than he could chew, by getting shot by the governor. If it wasn't sad enough, his brother Daryl was the one to find Walker Merle. I think it's pretty safe to say that we know who's next on Daryl's hit list. Moving on to our second spot, we have Sophia Peeler. When our group encounters a walker herd on the highway while trying to escape Atlanta, they decide to take cover under the vehicles to wait out the herd. But when Sophia gets out of cover too soon, she is chased in the woods by 2 walkers, ultimately getting herself lost. Despite a massive search by our group, it wasn't until they opened the barn to find Walker Sophia had been in there this whole time, leaving the episode to end with Rick pulling the trigger to put Walker Sophia down. Number 3 on our list, we have Hershel Greene. By getting kidnapped with Michonne by the governor, they become taken hostage and threatened to be executed if Rick didn't give up the prison. Even with Rick's long, passionate, too far gone speech, it wasn't enough to stop the governor from decapitating Hershel. Out of all the Walking Dead villains, the governor is certainly up there as one of the most ruthless ones to be featured on the show. Number 4 is Dale Horvath. Dale was one of those wisest characters in our group, and unfortunately when taking a midnight stroll after the discussion of executing Randall outside of the farm, Dale comes face to face with a walker. Now this walker ends up tearing Dale's stomach lining apart with only one way to stop Dale from turning. It leaves Daryl to be the one to put him down. If there was a character to be brought back on the show, Dale is definitely a top candidate for sure. Heading to our 5th spot on our list, we have Lori Grimes. I know because of Lori's love triangle with Rick and Shane, it really hurt her as being a good character in the eyes of most fans, but this death was certainly sad enough on its own and hard to watch. When complete chaos hits our survivors at the prison, with walkers overrunning it, Hershel losing a leg, and Lori about to give birth to her child. Being trapped by walkers with no way out, Lori makes the decision to have the baby knowing she wasn't going to survive. What makes this death so sad is her son Carl had to witness it all by watching his own mom die at the hands of his own knife. To add insult to injury, when Rick finds out the devastating news, he starts hallucinating all while in the middle of the battle with the governor. If this wasn't sad, honestly, I don't know what is. Number 6, we have Noah. When our survivors Glenn, Nicholas, and Noah go on a supply run, they get trapped by walkers in a revolving door. Even with Glenn's plan to escape in one piece, it was Nicholas's cowardly act as he leaves Noah to be left for dead, leaving Glenn to just sit there and watch as Noah is devoured by walkers. Ironically enough, when trapped by walkers yet again in Season 6, Nicholas commits suicide to save Glenn from a herd of walkers, giving him the chance to hide under a dumpster. It's such a shame because Noah was a really good character for the show, too bad Nicholas had to screw things up. Nearing the end of our list at our number 7 spot, we have Beth Greene. After getting kidnapped in Season 4, after losing the prison, we see Beth waking up in a hospital and held captive by Dawn and her officers. Beth quickly learns that she can't leave until her debt is paid off from being supposedly rescued. It wasn't until Maggie learns her sister Beth was alive and our group goes to the hospital to propose a trade. Unfortunately, Beth tries one last attack to kill Dawn, and it ends up getting herself shot in the head. Fans were devastated to not only see this, but when Maggie arrives at the hospital to finally see her sister again, only to find her lifeless in Daryl's arms. At least with this death, Daryl got his closure and revenge by shooting Dawn dead in the head. Lastly, at our great number 8 spot, we have Glenn and Abraham. With Maggie's pregnancy advancing, our group decides to head to Hilltop to see their doctor, not only to be stopped by Negan in the woods. Having to see our group on their knees, Negan decides the price will be paid by having one of our group members beaten to death by a baseball bat called Lucille. At the end of a painful game of Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Moe, Abraham is the one chosen to meet his end by Lucille. After Abraham's death, and not being able to sit and watch anymore, Daryl decides to take matters into his own hands and punches Negan. Due to Negan's no exceptions rule, another one of our group members must meet his ends by Lucille, and it's sad to say that it's Glenn. Trying to make out his last words to Maggie, his pregnant wife, Glenn is beaten senselessly to death. These two deaths were possibly the most gruesome and saddest deaths on the show, if not the most, since The Walking Dead hit a huge fall in ratings after the season 7 premiere. Alright viewers, that is the end of our list. If you would like to see a part 2 to this, let me know in the comments down below, as well as what list you would like to see next. And with all that said, I look forward to seeing you on our next list.